three. I will be serving as the chair today. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, I'm going to ask that you call the roll due to the absence of the Secretary.
President Robinson, Vice President Bowman.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, Treasurer Bradley, Trustee Gavin.
Present.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Present.
Trustee Doyle.
Present.
Vice President and quorum is present.
Thank you. We are now at the approval of the agenda. I do need to note that we do have two closed sessions that we would not be able to go to. I don't know if we want to remove those off the agenda or keep them on. And if we get another board member, it's totally up to you, but I don't want to, overstep. So is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
A motion has been made by Trustee Doyle.
Second.
And it's been seconded by Trustee Rocket. Madam Secretary, is there any questions or concerns? Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Vice President Bowens?
Yes.
Trustee Gavin?
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Doyle?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We now come to the Benton Harbor Board of Education norms. Our norms are: we will treat each other with respect. We will listen to learn. We will refrain from side conversations. We will use our time wisely, starting it and ending our meetings on time. We will challenge ideas, not people. We will ask questions when in doubt. There will be no surprises at the board table. We will practice the 7 norms of collaboration, which are: pausing, paraphrasing, posing questions, putting ideas on the table, providing data, paying attention to self and others, and presuming positive intentions. We now come to public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone here for public comment on the agenda items? I will read the comment, our public comment statement as you guys are making your way to The Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. Today, there are 2 areas of comment on the agenda, of which you may decide when to speak. Public comment on agenda items and open public comment. We request that each interested participant complete a public participation form using legible writing to ensure that responses are appropriately and properly focused. Per Benton Harbor Area School Bylaw 0167.3, which governs board participation at board meetings, we request that you preface your comments with your name, address, and group affiliation when appropriate. Each statement made by a participant should be limited to a 3-minute duration. And per our bylaws, no participant may speak more than once on the same topic until any other person have had the opportunity to speak. To speak on that topic, participants may remove their mask while addressing the board. Participants should direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement, and not respond at this time. I, as Vice President, will refer questions to the superintendent for research and response. Please ensure that your public participation form includes your contact information as requested. If you have any questions for the board or executive team that require follow-up, please email those directly to natalie.singer@bhas.org. And Trooper Burton, can you please come? And Tech, can you start the timer? Thank you.
Good evening, board. I'm Maurice Burton, Benton Harbor Area Schools residents of Benton Harbor, Michigan, speaking as far as on the educational piece. I was contacted last week by Benton Harbor PD to speak on behalf of the incident that happened at the school and concerning Dr. Griffin, and it was CPS, Benton Harbor. And I'm like, CPS, And so I'm letting the board know basically my statement that I made to the Benton Harbor Police Department regarding CPS with Dr. Griffin. They asked me what happened on that date with Dr. Griffin. I informed them that I was working as security, got a call from one of my former security officers, where one of my security officers said they had a great student that was running out of the classroom to make a fight. And I directed that security guard to bring that student down to the cafeteria where Dr. Griffin was in the cafeteria at that particular time, acting as the interim, at that particular time, the principalship and superintendent had at the same time. So they brought the student down, and when the student came down, the student had a high-lit voice. She told the student to lower her voice. Student still had a little high pitch, and she told the lower voice again, and why was she brought down? And I gave her the information that she was running out of the classroom attempting to fight a student. And Dr. Griffin reminded her, what did she talk about in the meeting in the assembly prior to that? And she said, there will be no fighting. Isn't that what I told you? And the student said, yeah, but, and Dr. Griffin told her to call her mother, you know, so that they can discuss what had happened and transpired. And so they sit down and they begin to talk. And when I walked away from that incident to handle the other things within the cafeteria, I noticed an uplift in the voice, and I noticed Dr. Griffin moving up, and Mr. Magruder, my other security guard, had to secure this other female student. And I noticed the female student from past experience had always had indications of high temperament. So she was lunging and going toward Dr. Griffin. So myself and Mr. Magruder were holding her back, telling her to quiet herself down while Dr. Griffin walked into the hallways. Dr. Griffin, at that time, the students tried to break away from me and Mr. Magruder, and we was telling her to focus on us and calm herself down. And Dr. Griffin in the hallway glanced back, and she had positioned herself in a defensive mode to protect herself. Mr. Magruder and I finally got her calmed down, and when she finally got calmed down, we looked around. I didn't see Dr. Griffin at that time. She had walked a little ways down the hallway, so we released the girl to put her in a more secured place. And unto our knowledge, that Dr. Griffin was walking toward her office, going out of the same way that the girl was exiting out of the door, and she had to, get in another defensive mode against the girl because she was threatening, throwing threats at Dr. Griffin at that time. So I want to set the record straight so that I don't know what you may have heard over social media, but this is what happened, and this is what I had to make my written statement to the police department about. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Good evening, everyone. And certainly I address you this evening with every bit of respect for the official elected Benton Harbor Area School Board. And I realize that you have been voted in by the people to represent the people. I am Sharon Brown. I am the co-founder of the African American History and Literature Gallery and one of the lead visionaries for the Benton Harbor St. Joe MLK monuments. But my most recent calling has come from my nephew, Spencer Harris. You see, I am also the great aunt of the ex-Benton Harbor High School student, Samaya, whose mother recently passed away and not yet buried. I am the woman on Saturday morning of November 1st, while making my way into the interest of the gallery to prepare for a 2-day parent and community talk with a licensed therapist, Sheila Matthews, seeking healing for a traumatized community that still was dealing with the death of a 14-year-old boy killed by a 19-year-old young man. I was summoned to a car that had pulled over. It was a Benton Harbor High School classmate who needed to announce to me that the young girl victim here at the Benton Harbor High School, where a recent dismissal of Benton Harbor staff, she wanted me to know that, Sharon, that's my family. She is my great niece. We cried together and prayed about the trauma on top of trauma, not knowing that being the great aunt of Samaya, that it would pressure me at this point to be here today. I have been bewildered, angry, took time to process and choose my behavior this evening to according to your rules in civil disobedience. My schoolmate and I have had to look back and wish for our old Benton Harbor High School, because the new Benton Harbor High School seems to be a far cry from what we experienced. And it seems as if it's been that way too long. I really don't want to speak, or I don't speak a lot about Trump. I do that because I don't feel that he's really in control. I feel that the people voted him in and that they support what he's doing. I too have no grievance with the new superintendent, but I do address my official board. On the most part, I at least know you, or I know of you, those who placed her in the superintendent position to rule over our school system. Again, you were voted in by the people to make decisions for the people, even if they don't show up. And I'm just very, very concerned about the latest activities that's escalated at the school. And if this is actually representing what the people, whether they show up or not, is expecting. Some would say whether I participated in the selection process, but I know there was clear voices. And I'm not ashamed to say that we felt that because of the critical situation that is in our school system, that we felt that a local person would have been more of a rescue aid. I was told by a board member that you weren't loud enough. You have to be loud when you want to be effective and you want to be heard and for change to happen. And I hope that tonight I'm loud enough. And yet there was a letter of recommendation that came from my husband and who we felt would be the choice. So I have no self-agenda. The focus is still the same, the betterment of our people and our children. We were made that the fact that the superintendent position also rode on a favorable answer to a question of keeping the boarded up schools standing. And yes, we chose not to attend the Q&A, nor the meet and greet. Instead, we sent an email to the board sharing our deepest concerns that we believe an error had been made in your final selection. So I find no boast in this evening. I ask that you be transparent and perhaps even consider reading the response out loud to my email. And if you cannot pull it up, I do have copies available. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on agenda items that would like to comment? Sorry.
Hello, board members. My name is Shaniqua Davis. I'm an employee of Benton Harbor High School, also the middle school. I'm coming to speak on behalf of the district and everyone. I just have a question to the community. How long is we going to slander Dr. Griffin about this mistake? I feel like she took accountability. What more? And now let me get something straight. Her public statement was about Shamaya. Both of the girls are Shamaya and Shamaya. So y'all read it wrong. She probably didn't talk to the other Shamaya parents, but Shamaya Davis' mother was spoken to. But we have bigger issues in this district that's going on, like the scores. We just gonna look over the scores, and we just gonna continue to slander our new superintendent. And the only reason why I think she's getting the slander is because she's not from around here. We know how Ben Harbor is. I've been here all my life. She don't have no favorite parent. She don't have no favorite employee. She is working. She came here blind. So a blind person is going to come with defense any way it go. That's just like when I was in high school, I left and went to South Bend. When I came there, I had to be the toughest person walking in school because I didn't want nobody to feel like they can run over me. Because our last superintendent clearly wasn't doing right because they're not here. So how about the community step back and get off this lady back and let her do her job as a superintendent? And I'm standing here and I stand with Dr. Griffin because she's an awesome lady. She's an awesome leader, and we're not going to take that from her because of a mistake. I work in this high school every day. These kids go crazy. Check yourself before you check anybody else. Check your kid. It starts at home. If the kid was taught not to cuss at an adult or do anything disrespecting the adult, we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. I'm frankly tired of it on Facebook. And the only reason why I haven't said nothing, everybody know me on this board, I always speak up. This is not the first meeting that I have spoke up, but I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing the slander. I'm tired of the situations. Let it go. Ain't nobody said nothing on Facebook about these scores that everybody received in their emails. Ain't nobody said nothing about that. But it's, oh, Dr. Griffin is, Dr. Griffin is. What about parent-teacher conference when a parent came up and said only one parent came and seen her? One parent. Out of all these parents in the high school, one parent. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional comments? Therefore, being no additional comments, we will go to the rest of our agenda. That leads to section F, and that is the approval of meeting minutes. We will be approving work session from October 28th, 2025 and November 11th of 2025. Is there a motion to approve both work sessions, both meeting minutes, sorry?
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Rocket. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's been seconded by trustee Gavin. Is there any questions or comments? Therefore, being none, Madam Secretary, can you please call the vote for me?
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, thank you. We now need to motion. May I have a motion on the floor to amend the agenda with board business? Or you want to keep it? Go ahead.
Point of clarity. So are we moving it down? Do we have,
We can move it down.
do we
Okay.
have?
Let's
do
move
we
it
know
down.
that it-
Can we move it down? So do we need to change our agenda?
I'll make the motion
Yes.
just to be on the safe side.
Thank you.
To move it underneath new business at the bottom.
Let's just, okay, I just noticed how they put board business as section A for the audit. We don't need to make a vote for that, correct? We can continue to go with the audit report. And then we can come back for section C.
Okay.
I mean, B and C. In that case.
So just hold off on
Yeah,
that.
let's hold off on that. I just
Will
realized
do.
it was section A. So
Okay.
we have our presentation by Gaybridge and Company. I apologize about that.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to Benton Harbor Area Schools.
My name is Joe Berlin, and I'm with Gabriel and Company. And I thank the board for the opportunity to be here tonight. And first, I'll say it was a pleasure working with Angela and Brian. And they provided us a set of financial statements at the beginning of the audit process. And throughout the audit process. They've provided us with all the audit documentation, supporting documents and schedules, and we work with Department of Education and various financial institutions to confirm and verify the numbers. And what matters more than anything else in this report can be found in the second paragraph on page 1. And this is where we provide the opinion on your financial statements. We wrote, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly. Oh, I'm sorry, if you go to, it'd be page 3 of the PDF. Yep, right there. Second paragraph, if you want to zoom in to make it a little bit easier to read. So that is the opinion paragraph, and that's where we wrote, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the school district as of June 30, 2025. I made the mistake one time. I referred to it as an unmodified opinion to one of my clients, and they became upset and started. They wanted to know what they needed to do to make sure they didn't never receive another unmodified opinion again. But that's actually the highest level of an opinion that we can provide on your financial statements. It's a clean opinion, and it means that your controls are suitably designed. They're effectively operating to ensure that the school is receiving accurate, timely, and verifiable financial statements. Should always be the school's goal to get to the point where you have a clean opinion on your financial statements.
Can you repeat that louder, that part that you just said a few minutes ago? Yeah.
Sure. It should always be the school's goal to have a clean opinion on your financial statements.
And we have a clean opinion, correct?
Yes, this is the highest level of an opinion that we can provide.
Thank you.
Sure. It should always be the school's goal to get to that point, but it certainly means something to achieve it. We've had larger organizations with either qualified or adverse opinions because they weren't able to stand behind the numbers that were provided to us during the audit process. So kudos to the staff for getting to that point. If you want to navigate a little bit further down this page, we'll see an emphasis of matter paragraph. And all this paragraph is doing is pointing out to the readers of the financial statements that the school district implemented Governmental Accounting Standard Board Statement number 101, and that's the compensated absence standard. Many school districts implemented it, and it had a significant impact on their financial position. It didn't really have any impact on Benton Harbor's financial position, but it was implemented during the course of the year. Next, if you go to page 9 of the PDF, page 6 of the bound copy of the report. Scroll up a little bit further. If you go back a couple more pages. I think one more page. Right there, the financial highlights. So this section of the audit report is management's discussion and analysis. And I find this to be useful. I always take readers through it because it's essentially the Cliff Note version of the entire audit report. Here you get the financial highlights. They hit on some of the more significant numbers within your financial statements. It also provides 2-year comparative data to get an idea for some of the trends that your finances are showing. And then there's narrative explaining reasons behind significant changes in your revenues and expenses during the past 2 years. So first, the first bullet point shows that if the school were to take all of its assets, which includes long-term assets, buildings, and receivables, and if they were to sell them all and pay all of your liabilities, it's very much a hypothetical number. The difference would be about $29 million left over. Now that includes non-spendable items and restricted items, things of that nature. But the difference is net position. In the corporate world, we would call that equity. And if we back off the non-spendable items and the restricted amounts, we get to the unrestricted net position, which is a deficit net position of $2,176,235. Virtually every school district in the state of Michigan has a deficit unrestricted net position. The biggest reason being the net pension liability that is getting reported on your statement of net position. So it's a long-term liability. The school gets an annual required contribution that you guys make a payment into every month to keep chipping away at that net pension liability over the course of the next 15 years. That number will become fully funded. But you currently have a deficit unrestricted net position as of June 30, 2025. Second bullet point down, And I mentioned that first bullet point is really kind of a hypothetical number. The second bullet point answers the question, is the school better off financially at June 30, 2025 compared to June 30, 2024? And during the course of fiscal 25, total revenues across all funds of the school came in just around $39 million. And that exceeded your expenses of roughly $34 million during the course of the year, leading to an increase in your net position. My eyesight's not as good as it used to be. It's $5,240,018. In the corporate world, we would call that net income. A lot of it had to do with some kind of external factors that went in the school's favor. For example, your net OPEB asset and your net pension liability both showed significant improvements during the course of the year because your pension and retiree healthcare assets earn about 15.5% interest on those assets during the course of the year. That certainly helped the school. But at the end of the day, you had a $5.2 million increase in your net position. So if a reader asked, is the school better off? The answer is yes, by about $5.2 million. Third bullet point, first two bullet points are very much on the long-term, a very long-term outlook. Third bullet point, now we're looking at what are the school's immediate resources compared to your immediate obligations. The difference represents fund balance. During the course of the year, across all funds of the school, total fund balances decreased by approximately $4.85 million, leading to an ending fund balance across all of your funds of about $31 million. So on the long-term basis of accounting, your net position improved, even though your fund balances decreased. The biggest reason for that being much of your fund balances were used on long-term fixed assets. So on the short-term basis of accounting, we're reporting that as a decrease in your fund balance. On the long-term basis of accounting, we're including that as a long-term fixed asset and depreciating those assets over their useful lives. Thus, the slightly different or the significantly different change in fund balance compared to the increase in your total net position. Fourth bullet point, now we're talking about the most important fund of the school, your general fund. Total fund balance came in at $16.6 million, which is about 46.5% of your annual general fund expenditures. Not too much, not too little, very healthy financial position as of June 30, 2025. But continuing on through that bullet point, you can see that the total fund balance in your general fund did decrease by $768,232 during the course of the year. So you're in a healthy spot. It did go backwards during the course of the year. Certainly something to be mindful of. But as of June 30, 2025, you're in a healthy financial position. If you go down to page 9 of the printed copy, which is two more pages from here, we're going to look at the comparative assets and liabilities of the school for the past 2 years. Just a few rows that I wanted to point out. The very top row, it's always nice to know how your cash and investments are doing. And you can see total cash at June 30, 2025, very top row on the left column, $34 million compared to about $32.3 million as of June 30, 2024. So it's nice to see an increase in your total cash during the course of the year. If you look half a dozen rows down from there, your net OPEB asset increased. You had an OPEB asset at June 30, 2024, of $560,000. That compares to an asset of about $4.4 million at June 30, 2025. And again, that's due to a 15.5% return on your retiree healthcare assets during the course of the year. So strong returns increased your OPEB asset, which is certainly a good thing. If you look about 3/4 of the way down this page in the non-current liability section, we will see the net pension liability, and that number improved. It's still a liability, but it improved. June 30, 2024, you had a liability of $30.3 million compared to a liability of $24.1 million as of June 30, 2025. So about a $6 million improvement, which is substantial during the course of the year. And then lastly, if you look at the very bottom row, your total net position improved. It was $24.2 million as of June 30, 2024, and it increased up to $29.4 million as of June 30, 2025. Now, you might note the row directly above that, your unrestricted net position actually declined from a deficit of $1.5 million to a deficit of $2.2 million. A lot of that has to do with the decrease in your general fund balance. Is primarily the biggest impact on your unrestricted net position. If you go one more page to page 10, we got to look at the comparative revenues and expenses of the school for the each of the last 2 years. What I did want to point out here, the second row down from the top, in 2024, the school had roughly $32 million of operating grants and contributions. That number dipped to about 23.3 million for the 12 months ended June 30, 2025. The biggest reason being the decrease, roughly $10 million of ESSER funding during fiscal 25, simply because the ESSER funding stopped at September 30, 2024. In addition to that, if you look at another half dozen rows down from there, the gain on loan forgiveness, the school recognized a one-time gain of almost $10 million in fiscal 24. That number decreased to zero. No such loans were forgiven. In fact, the school paid off its loan remaining long-term debt during the course of fiscal 25. So altogether, total revenues were 57.4 million compared to 39.1 million in fiscal 25. But really, it's that loan forgiveness and the ESSER funding that is driving the total decrease in your total revenues. And then 3 rows up in the bottom, you can see that the change in net position, the far right column showed a $23.9 million increase in your total net position. Certainly benefited by the 2 one-time items of ESSER funding and loan forgiveness. But again, you did have an increase in your net position in fiscal 25 of $5.24 million. Next, if you go to page 19, the last page that I wanted to point out. This shows the funds of the school, and this is on the modified accrual basis of accounting, or I would think of this as being checkbook accounting. You know, how much cash went into the school during the course of the year. That amount gets reflected as revenues, and how much cash went out. Those are your expenditures. In the very 4 rows up from the bottom, 3 rows up from the bottom, you can see that your general fund had a decrease in fund balance, $768,000. If you want to scroll just a little bit further down this page, right there, $768,000 decrease, leading to an ending fund balance of $24,097,515 in your general fund. The next column over, your sinking fund had a $3.4 million decrease due to building improvement projects throughout the course of the year of approximately $6.1 million. That led to a fund balance of $6.87 million. And then the third column shows all the other funds of the school get aggregated together. Primarily your food service fund is what's driving down or showing the biggest piece of that decrease in fund balance of 668 or 688,000. Many of our schools are showing the same thing simply because they've got excess fund balance in that food service fund, and they need to be used on various capital projects, capital outlay items to spend down fund balance because of surplus fund balances during the past couple of years. So altogether, total change in fund balance was the decrease of $4.85 million, 3 rows up from the bottom in the very last column on the right side of the page. So those are the financial highlights. There is kind of a unique delay this year with regard to your financial reporting. The Office of Management and Budget has yet to pass the 2025 compliance supplement, which they normally pass in May of each year. And for that reason, that is the document that auditors use in order to be able to plan and perform your federal single audit. They haven't even published it yet, which made things a little bit more challenging this year with regard to the audit timing. So we don't know when the Office of Management and Budget is going to actually pass the compliance supplement. The Michigan Department of Education is aware of this issue. So your federal single audit report is not due until 30 days after whatever day Office of Management and Budget releases the compliance supplement. So there will be another piece of the audit. But what I can say is that we intended to issue an unmodified opinion on your internal control over compliance over your federal awards as well. We're not able to discuss it until we're able to publish it. So anyway, those are the highlights that I've got, and I'm certainly more than happy to take any further questions the board might have.
I can do questions. We don't have a quorum right now, but we can still do. No. So go.
In layman's terms.
Yeah, go ahead.
what would you say are the state of our budget is in?
Well, in layman's terms, I would say that you guys are ahead of the Michigan Department of Education's benchmark with regard to your financial position. So you should have a minimum of 10% of unassigned fund balance in your general fund. So you're beating that benchmark. I do think it's a good idea to continue to monitor your general fund and try to make sure that balance stays budget so that you stay and remain at that healthy financial position. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, but yeah.
Yes. Trustee Gavin, do you have any questions or comments?
I'm just wondering, do we need to?
We could still go through because we're not going to vote on this. So we can still talk, but then after that, I'm going to call for, well, no. Okay. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to wait until, just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Just wait till Secretary Triplett takes terms.
We're going to ask him to expedite his walk.
Please. First of all, I want to say, is he officially here? Is it good?
Can we please note that we have Secretary Triplett in at 6:39? Thank you. We now have a quorum. So.
Thank you. First of all, thank you. Feels good to know that we're looking good financially. I think that a lot of people always wonder about that piece. My question, and I'm really happy, of course, to hear that the debt forgiveness has contributed to that as well. There's always a question in the community about long-term debt. So that big debt was forgiven, but it looks like we have a little bit of long-term debt. And in the document, it indicates that it's just kind of related to long-term obligations for accumulated sick and vacation leave.
Yes.
Is that this $165,352, is that related to that as well? It's on page 14.
Yep.
And I asked because people ask me that. I'm like, we don't have, we're out of debt in that way, but I want to make sure I'm being honest in my response. And I see that there's a much smaller amount here.
Yes, you are correct in saying that. I'm trying to find the footnote schedule that gives a little bit more detail. It might make it a little bit easier to understand what makes up. If you go to page 38 of the audit report, that gets us into the footnote section of the audit. Okay. And that shows the change in the school's long-term obligations.
Okay. 38.
You see note 8.
Is it a heading for it?
Yep, it's note 8, which says long-term obligations.
Oh, I think it's page 30, page 40 on my.
Oh, sure.
Got you. Okay.
Sure. Yep. So note 8, the long-term obligations, it shows the balances at the beginning of the year. So there was that supplemental payout payable to the state of Michigan, $126,712, which was paid down during fiscal 25. So that is entirely satisfied. And there is a 2024 lease obligation for some office equipment for various copiers and whatnot throughout the district. That's the sole remaining item. So the bonds payable, the amounts payable to the state of Michigan, all of that has been paid off and has zero balance.
So that supplemental payout, that was before we got notice that the debt was forgiven, maybe? Was that like our last payment, maybe?
That was a secondary loan, and that's been paid off in full.
Got you. Okay. And I had that other question, and I don't know if it makes more sense to ask that during finance committee, or is it? Okay. I have another question, but I'll ask at another time.
Sure.
Thank you so much. It feels good to know that we're in good standing, good fund balance. Great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yes, I want to comment to, well, Secretary Triplett, do you have any comments? We just got our audit. We have a clean audit. Okay, I just want to say job well done to Director Brock Carter. I know we asked questions and I was going through numbers and everything. And I'm going through everything, asking what is going on. So I just want to say job well done. And thank you so much. If there's being none, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any comments you would like to say, trustee, Director Block?
Just, thank you to Joe and his team for helping us get our audit done timely. It's always a bit of a crunch time for us to get everything in and done in time, but him and his team always accommodates us and make sure that our audit is done on time, submitted and uploaded to our transparency report timely. So I just want to say thank you, Joe, to you and your team, and thank you to the board for allowing me the opportunity to be the director of finance here at Benton Harbor Area Schools. I definitely enjoy it, and it's something that this last year it wasn't my work during the audit, so this year it was actually my work. So I'm glad to know that I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now, board, is I'm going to call for us a recess. We'll be back in 6:55, and I'm going to call for a recess. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are now at the section of our agenda for a closed session. The Board of Education may hold a closed session to consider the dismissal, suspension, or discipline, or to hear complaints or charges brought against, or to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of a public officer, staff member, or individual agent. If the named persons request a closed hearing, reference policy 0167.2, a majority vote is required. We also will be going to closed session for 2 items. Is there a motion on the floor to go in closed session, in open session, and to go into closed session? I'm sorry.
So moved.
It's been supported by trustee Doyle. Is there a second?
Second.
And second by trustee Gavin. Is there any questions or concerns? Therefore, being none, Secretary Triplett, are you ready to call for the roll?
Vice President Bowens.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin. Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We'll be going into closed session at 6:58. For those of you that are in the audience, we will be going into closed session to handle some information. We hope to be back shortly. Closed session and come into open session.
Recommend that we close session and invite the internal session.
Can you talk into your mic, please?
I make a motion that we come out of closed session and go into open session.
Trustee Raquette has made a motion that we end closed session and come back into regular session. Is there a second?
I support.
It's been seconded by Secretary Triplett. Is there any questions or comments? Therefore, being none, can you please call the roll, Secretary Triplett?
Vice President Bowens.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, we are now at the section of our agenda for Policy and Discipline Committee. This is the second reading. Trustee Gavin, would you like to read the policy 3130, assignment and transfer of professional staff?
Yes.
And I can barely hear you. I don't know if those in Zoom land can too.
I need a second to get into my email.
Oh, sorry.
Staff report B1. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Resolution to enhance transfer and reassignment policy. Reason for board approval. The Board of Education shall adopt bylaws and policies for the organization and operation of this board and the district, and shall be bound to follow such bylaws and policies. Facts and analysis. Bylaws and policies shall be adopted, amended, repealed, or suspended by a majority vote of the board. The board may adopt, amend, or repeal rules of order for its own operation by simple resolution of the board passed by a majority of those present and voting. The adoption, modification, repeal, or suspension of a board bylaw or policy shall be recorded in the minutes of the board. All bylaws and policies shall be printed in the board policy manual. Policy reference 0122, board powers, bylaws and policies, creating a new position. Strategic plan reference. Facilities and operation. Benton Harbor Area Schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the revision of the Benton Harbor Area Schools revised and reissued Neola bylaws policy 3130 and 4130 to add the language. The board shall approve the transfer and reassignment of all professional staff and support staff in the district and edu staff upon review of a transfer and reassignment plan that includes the following: rationale and benefits of the proposed change, onboarding transition plan for new assignment, impact statement from the proposed staff detailing the pros, cons, and recommendations to consider, explicit indicators as to whether the reassignment transfer is voluntary or involuntary in nature, accompanying documentation to support the change, approved for presentation to the Board of Education.
Thank you. And that is our second reading. And do you want to read policy? I'm sorry, is there any questions or concerns on this policy?
Is this the first read?
This is the second.
We see this before.
We've seen this was it last week or the week before last?
That's how it works.
Is that a question?
And support staff, I do think that when we're talking about, or what our policy specifically states about the recreation of new positions, and I may have looked at the wrong one, because I do think that we need to get something in place as it relates to our edu staff employees. Is to any employees that come through. We don't know people are working in this district through quote unquote edu staff. As a board, we don't always know. And so I think it is our responsibility, Trustee Gavin, to definitely take this into consideration and to plug it out. I am for that.
Okay, thank you.
No, we are in the work session. So this is our second read.
Do you have any questions, Trustee? Yeah, I'm just taking the mic now.
I have some concerns. I am against this because it takes the power away from the superintendent, and not necessarily being the superintendent we have now. I'm saying from the position. And if the superintendent is in the position to run the district, whoever it may be, they should have that power. And it should be the superintendent who decides who needs to move, when we are not in the day-to-day operations. If we have to vote on who needs to move and who doesn't need to move, how do we know? We're in the weeds. You're in the weeds. How would we know? Because they know what has to be done in the day-to-day building operations and in the district. They need to know when this person needs to move, who needs to be this, who needs to be that. As a building administrator, we always had the autonomy to move our teachers from one grade to another as we saw fit. We discussed it. We didn't just arbitrarily do it. We discussed it with the teachers. We had them to understand that we don't have as many kids now in this grade. We need you to transition to another grade. But we had that authority in our buildings to run our buildings that way. And so to take the authority away from the superintendent to move the people as needed is a grossly, it would just be terrible. I think when we took away the power of the superintendent in the first place, we never should have messed with that position. It had been in position for years, down to years. I don't know any organization who has taken power away from their CEO or their top official and say you can't do anything. So I am extremely, totally against this policy. I think we should leave our policy as is and let it stand as is, and we'll make other adjustments. If there's a problem with anything, there is the evaluation process that the state has given us to use. We should use our evaluation process that we need to use to take care of what we need to take care of, and let the person that's in charge of this district run the district. So I am against this policy.
Thank you, Trustee Gavin. Trustee Doyle?
That was not
Trustee Gavin. Trustee Rockett, sorry.
By any stretch of the
I apologize, Trustee Rockett. Trustee Doyle?
I'm in agreement with these policies. I think we need to have something in place to help make sure things are getting moved along and assigned and transferred in a such way that there is a follow-up, and just like she has here, rationale, those things like that, onboarding plans, just to make sure our people are getting to the right places and able to do the things that they need to do. So I'm in total agreement. This is our second read. We got one more read and then it's a policy.
Thank you. Trustee Secretary Triplett?
Yeah, when I look at it, and I that's why I said I need more time. I do not want to interfere and get involved in the day-to-day operations. The superintendent has that power. That's the role. We hired these individuals to do their job. This is not our job. And so again, like I said, I need a little bit more time to flush it out, because it appears that we just recently restored the power to the superintendent. Are we rescinding? Is this rescinding that that power? And if so, why? So again, as Trustee Rockett Martin said, and as a former administrator, the principals had that power to make the decisions that's best for their building. The superintendent has the power to make the decision what he or she thinks is best for the district. We do have protocols in place that I think that we need to discuss and flush out, that we will make sure that everything is done decently and in order. And so, yeah, I'm glad to be able to read this again. And I would like to just, run it by, to hear these different opinions tonight. It's good for me.
Thank you so much. And this will be the last comment on this, because we have another policy to read. Trustee Gavin.
Thank you, Vice President Barnes. I want to make sure that we're clear on the narrative. No one is interested in taking the superintendent's power. away. What this is an enhanced resolution that empowers the district to make sure that the proper information is provided before these types of decisions are made. In the past, we have had a lot of musical chairs happening, and I'm not talking about Dr. Griffin. I'm talking about Benton Harbor area schools. People have been moved around, and when they have gotten moved, there were some serious repercussions that happened when those people got moved, and then they were moved into this new position without a transition plan in place. And when that happens, the board is called, the board is blamed, and the board is held responsible for those decisions. And so what this is saying is, if you are going to make a transition, if you're going to move someone, let's make sure that we are clear the pros and cons of that move. It's important for us to know what can happen, good or bad, if this happens. It's important to have a safe space for that staff person who is being moved to be able to share, hey, if you move me, then this is the danger. This is something that can happen when I move to this position. There's some things that they're blind spots. If we don't have that information before we make these decisions, then that's where we end up having problems that we didn't foresee. So what this is saying is we need to make wise decisions and put those structures in place so that when the move does happen, we're clear that that is in the best interest of the district, and the superintendent is making that recommendation, and the board can wisely say yes, no, rather than looking at a name on a piece of paper and like, oh yeah, that's not wise to just say yes. We need to know what we're saying yes or no to. And it's just saying put those systems in place. And this is, I've shared this resolution to all of the board prior to today. And so I understand that there's, you need time. Just understand that this is an enhanced opportunity for people who are impacted to be able to share their input before we make certain decisions that could impact other people. Maybe they're connected to certain children that if you move them, this child was in a dangerous situation and that was the person they trusted, whatever. And even if we make the decision to move them, it's important to know so that we can put the proper supports in place for that classroom or whoever is now going to walk into it. So I think if we can move away from pro superintendent against the superintendent and just look at what can we do to improve the way that we're doing, we're making changes, and how can we make sure that the people who are impacted have a voice without feeling like they have to go behind people's backs or anything like that. We're doing it in a professional way. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Gavin, would you like to go to policy 4130?
130. So it's the same thing. You want me to just read the same thing? Assignment and transfer. The Board of Education believes that the careful placement of support staff within the district is vital to the utilization of qualified and competent support staff for the successful functioning of the district. The board shall approve the transfer of reassignment of all support staff in the district and edu staff upon review of a comprehensive transfer and reassignment plan that includes the following: rationale and benefits of the proposed change, onboarding transition plan for new assignment, impact statement from the proposed staff detailing the pros, cons, and recommendations to consider, explicit indicators as to whether the reassignment or transfer is voluntary or involuntary in nature, accompanying documentation to support the change, responsibility for recommending assignment and transfer of support staff members shall be vested in the superintendent.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments on this policy? Trustee Raquette?
My objection is the fact that you cross out superintendent. The boards, that is not our job. It's not our job. It is the superintendent's job. Put the
Talk to me, Mike, please.
Put the things in place for the superintendent. So that could be one of her goals, that all of that is taken care of before you transfer a person, not the board. It's not our job to find out about all those things. Our job is board policy. So if we want to make that a goal for a superintendent, before you move this person, these things have to be in place, then you do it. But to say the board has to be the one to approve it and do all that, I disagree. I disagree. I think the superintendent should have that authority, just for the fact, not the superintendent person, whatever, but the office itself should have that authority. We may not even sit on this board in a few years. You may get somebody totally on this board that doesn't understand any of these things. So I think our forefathers, I'll say it like that, put in place in policy those things that ruled our district, and they ruled our district well. They did. I've been in the district 40-something years, and those policies did work. So I think to mess with that without seeing the outcome of what your decision will make is deadly, and it's irresponsible. We can change things, but you don't know how those changes affect down the way. So
thank you, Trustee.
I still disagree.
Thank you, Trustee Rockett.
I'm done.
Do you have a comment?
Yes, I do. I too, when you look at it, but I also, just like I said, we hire a superintendent to do his or her job. I appreciate what Trustee Gavin said too. It is not about any particular person. It's when we say the superintendent, whoever's in that role, and oftentimes people make these things personal, and it's not. If we place a person in a position, we should be able to expect them to do their job. And so I will take some more discourse and conversation regarding these policies. This policy was last updated through Neola in 2018, and they are aligned with state and national standards. So I'm willing for more conversation, but I too have some thoughts, because I had to pause with so much that's been happening in our district. I just had to pause for a moment, and I just need that think time. Okay, and I hope you all support me in being able to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett.
That's a quick question.
Yes, Trustee Gavin.
Okay, so this is exactly why I shared this with the board prior to this meeting, right? So that we could flesh that out prior to being at the table. And I don't have a problem with changing the resolution to say that the board shall approve, the superintendent shall approve these things. I just want us to be clear on making sure that there are checks and balances, that those things are done.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with that. That's why I try to share things early on. And, I'd be more than happy to make that adjustment if that's the will of the board. But I do think that to not have these things is a mistake.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Dr. Griffin actually have wanted these types of things in place, or at least some, if not all, of those things in place prior to. I can't speak for Dr. Griffin though, and so it'd be great to hear from Dr. Griffin on this issue. If she's open to speaking to it.
I don't have a comment at this time.
Okay. So we're now to curriculum and student support services. Trustee Gavin.
So in the interest of time, I guess what I'm wondering is, does the board want us to go through all of these presentations? Do you want,
Well,
I think quick summary, but
Ms. Nichols
tonight.
Yeah, Ms. Nichols said it was short. Do you think we can utilize the KISS method? Keep it short and simple? Elevator speech. I'm on the elevator and you're trying to sell me a car. Can you do that?
Okay.
Does that?
Okay, perfect. So I'll turn it over to, in Dr. Foster's absence, Dr. Griffin.
Oh, sorry.
Who should I turn it over to?
I'll read it for.
Okay, I will turn it over to Dr. Griffin
My
to
bad.
facilitate this section.
It's okay. I have her presentation here. If we could, that's of course the cover slide that we always have, where she wants to make sure that we're making those strides in curriculum and instruction. If you could review that really quickly. We have that every meeting, and then go to the next one. Of course, this is where she lands in the miracles framework. And then awesome. Next slide. These are the goals. You'll see these every meeting, just as a reminder to just kind of set the stage. And then next slide. Awesome. And this is teaching and learning recognition. Principal Jordan Wright at Fairplain Elementary. Strengthening instructional routines, building staff confidence, modeling responsive student leadership. This month, we are proud to recognize Principal Jordan Wright for her steady leadership, her commitment to instructional growth, and her willingness to take feedback and turn it into action. Under her leadership, Fairplain Elementary is strengthening its instructional routines, building a positive culture for staff and students, and moving forward with greater confidence and consistency. Next slide. Teaching and learning recognition, teacher Carrie Nelson from Fairplain Elementary. She has launched the flexible seating innovation strategy. We're also excited to celebrate her. Her innovative use of flexible seating has transformed her classroom into a student-centered, highly engaging learning environment. Her willingness to redesign her space based on the students' needs has increased focus, comfort, and participation, showing what it looks like when a teacher creates a room where every student feels ready to learn. Awesome, Ms. Nelson. Another, wait, did I skip one? Farron Nelson, okay.
Ms. Osotelo?
Yes. Ooh. Teaching and learning recognition for another teacher, Helen
Osotelo.
Ostatellu. She's at Martin Luther King Elementary, Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary. First grade teacher, we are proud to recognize her for her exceptional growth in instructional practice and her commitment to continuous improvement. Over the past month, she has successfully strengthened her pacing, sharpened her lesson delivery, and increased student engagement through consistent use of high-quality anchor charts. Her willingness to take feedback, apply it immediately, and elevate the learning experience for her first grader demonstrates the heart of an effective, reflective practitioner. Curriculum updates. This is Zello. Zello has K2 students have begun career exploration and using Zello. If you recall, we talked about this a few months ago when we first launched Zello. Well, it's always been in place, but we're taking it all. Remember, I said I want us to take it all the way down to kindergarten. We're here. This graph shows the profiles of our students have already completed. So if you'll take a look there, you'll have a closer look on your documents, board members, as to how our K-2 students are doing. You see them, farm, park, art gallery. These are some of their aspirations and things that they're interested in. Construction, pet grooming, hospital. So you'll see the yellow line is kindergarten, blue line, first grader, and then the green line is our second graders. So wanted to share that. We're super proud of those kiddos doing what they're doing. And if you'll go to the next slide. The grades 3 through 5 graph shows that completion percentages steadily increase by grade level. with grade 5 outperforming both grades 3 and 4 across every task. Overall, grade 3 students have completed almost none of the tasks, while 4th and 5th show moderate to strong completion, indicating a need for targeted support in the grade 3 engagement, so we can get those numbers up. And then the Zello updates. This graph shows overall completion percentages for required Zello tasks across grades 6 through 12, with the highest completion in the matchmaker quiz, 85%, and personality quiz, 80%, and the lowest in education experience, 49%. But overall, students complete quizzes and interest-based tasks at much higher rates than experience-based tasks, indicating a need for increased support and monitoring in those low-performing areas. In our 21st Century Program update, November 6th and 7th, they visited Benton Harbor with the principals, and I met with them as well. And we have PD professional development training for everybody on December 10th. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. Next slide. Upcoming professional development. As you can see, continuous in school improvement, November 19th. MASA's Midwinter Conference. I'm looking forward to attending that in January. And then Michigan Schools Testing Conference in Ann Arbor. Then, of course, next slide, district-wide PD right here in Benton Harbor. This month's PD theme is From Promise to Practice, Strengthening Instructional Impact, focuses on turning our commitments to students into consistent, high-quality instruction across every classroom. Together, we will deepen our instructional practices, strengthen alignment, and ensure every learner experiences rigorous, engaging, and meaningful learning every day. And that concludes her presentation.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments?
Just want to thank, I just want to thank you, Dr. Griffin, for stepping in, and Dr. Foster's absence. Really excited about this great news. And of course, we set a goal for Zello, and to see this being launched, you know, kindergarten and above, and to see, I think it's like 80 to 85% of our students taking the personality test, learning more about themselves, and then that application is going to match them to get them more information about the career opportunities that are connected to who they are. And I think that's going to be great for them and their relationship with their parents and family and friends, knowing who they are. So I'm really excited about all of this information and the strides that you made in such a short time. You weren't sure how long it would take, but you got, you know, your team got on top of this real quickly. So just want to thank you. Thank you for this. And,
my pleasure.
Was there anyone else? VP Barnes?
You know, it was a pleasure to report to work on Monday. And they said the district, the final district in the county, has completed the CRIM training. And all I could do is go screaming. So I just want to say thank you guys for that. So maybe I'm switching things, but on that professional development. Trustee Gavin, is there any more?
There is a student support. That was curriculum and instruction, right? There's student and support services. And I'll turn it over to you, Mrs. Director Nichols.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Student Support Services Department update. So first slide is, of course, our alignment with our strategic plan and the Miracles alignment, which is the learning environment that supports student success. The next slide is our department goals. If you recall, this is our chronic absenteeism, increasing our parental engagement, and our student wellness. And moving on to my last slide, which is awesome information, our progress. Just want everyone to know that we have been recognized, all of our schools recognized for the MTSS recognition, the MyMTSS, which is the Michigan multi-tier system of supports. If you know that in our district, we have did a lot of efforts to really push our positive behavior intervention supports, our social, emotional, behavioral health in our buildings. And we was recognized for the high school, Discovery Richmond Center, our Fair Plain East Elementary, Fair Plain Middle School, and Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary. So I want to say congratulations to our our schools for really putting in that work and effort to implement MTSS in the district, in the buildings. Next is we have, again, our social emotional behavior. We did have our professional development training at our last district PD, and also the CRIM that was mentioned that we were able to complete and was wonderful. Our staff said it was awesome and it was great. One thing, they will be coming back because we still need to do secondary. So just letting you know that. And last is, just so you all know, soon you will see our website will have mental health resources that can really support not just our students and our staff, but our families as well. And that concludes student support service updates.
Thank you so much, Director Nichols, and congratulations to the MTSS team for your award. And also, we'll go on to what's next is the public comments. Right before that is, I just want to make an announcement that in the future, our committee will, Dr. Griffin indicated that committee will include safety. So our director of safety will be joining that committee real soon. So I'm very excited about that. And we do have a few minutes if there is someone who from the public who wanted to speak on this particular committee. Wait. Okay. If not, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Dr. Griffin, if you had anything you wanted to add, or to the board if there were any questions.
Yes, she's still on.
This one. Okay. Yes, I'm just very excited about the growth and the development and hard work for those people that have been recognized. Our goal is to make sure that any little growth, any effort that's being put forward, we highlight that. So I've charged our cabinet members to make sure that they're catching people doing the good stuff so that we can highlight them and publicize the great work that's already being done. And even when people are getting constructive feedback, these people said, you know what, this is okay. I want to get better. They received the constructive feedback and they got better in their practice. They didn't get angry. They didn't push back. And as a consequence, we could see the growth in the students, the classroom environment, and was just like Ms. Jordan Wright, as a principal, you can see the building is going to benefit from that. So for me, I'm just super excited to see the work already being done to those that are open to growing as practitioners in this work.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to Principal Wright and congratulations to Mrs. Nelson as well. And thank you, Dr. Griffin, for making this contagious. We want to catch people doing good as often as possible. And I'll turn it over to you, VP Bowens.
Thank you. We now go to Secretary Triplett on facilities and operations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. If everybody will pull up the report, our Director of Facilities, Dr. Bullock, if you just when you go through, we want you to make sure that you look at the note that's in the actual report for facilities and our next step as it relates to things that are happening. So we've already, received information on the painting in our gymnasium. It's coming up in as we get ready to approach our winter sports and what have you. I'll let Dr. Bullock go through and report out to the board and to the public, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'll be very brief. So painting will start in the gym this Thursday. And RFPs has gone out and we shall receive numbers back for the demo of Bard and Martindale by Friday. The PAC and band roof area will start getting replaced on this Thursday as well. And the roofing company gave us an additional 5-year warranty. So it's a total of 25-year warranty. And boilers are on at every school. And we are still looking at phase 2 with replacing the pipings and controls. So.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bullock. Again, as a trustee, our vice president was sitting here He said, it's hot in here, you know, so I would like to thank our Director Bullock and our Superintendent, Dr. Griffin, for being up on top of these very, very, very important issues to our students and to our community. Thank you so very much.
You have questions?
Any question?
Just a quick question. Are there any rooms that need attending to? Are all the rooms warm? Is the full building warm?
We have a few that we got to replace motors, but they're still, but we still coming off from steam. So they're all right now. By the time we get in that cold weather, they'll be replaced. We just waiting on some come back on order.
This is a win for everybody. So yeah, let's 70 years. So just happy to hear that. Thank you so much for the great news.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Thank you. We now lead to our finance committee work session. Trustee Gavin, I'm going to give it to you because you're the co-chair.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our esteemed director, Brock Carter.
We got that 3-minute elevator speech? No.
I got it.
All right.
Thank you, Trustee Gavin. I just want to touch base just on the financial summary. I will give you all an opportunity to review the remaining reports. And if you have any questions or concerns before we take a vote on the staff reports at the next board meeting, we can go over them then. But I am going to review the financial summary so that we can summarize the finances up through October 31st, 2025. The general fund revenues and expenses are at 22% of the fiscal year. One would expect it would be 33% if the expenses were spread out evenly throughout the year. I always make a note of when the state aid is received. Our first state aid payment was received October 20th, and you'll be able to see in our revenues that we are in a good place. The vendor payment report is available if you'd like to take a look at that and have any questions. Our year-to-date revenues are higher compared to last year in October due to an increased local funds from property taxes. Our year-to-date expenses are lower compared to last year due to no longer making purchases with ESSER funds. Our large payments for the month of October are listed also on the financial summary. All of a sudden, my committee agenda just changed. So just a second, please. And I'm going straight to staff report F1. A set of financial reports is provided to the Board of Education each month. This evening it is recommended that the October 2025 payments be approved for all of the district funds. Policy reference 6470, payment of claims, strategic plan goal reference. Facility/operations, Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. The Board of Education recommended action. The Board of Education approved the October 1st through October 31st payments for the following funds. General Fund, $730,387.67. Food Service Fund, $172,602.67. Student Activity Fund, $282,930.95. for a total of $1,185,921.29. And the board will be taking the vote at the next meeting on December 9th. Staff report F2 is in reference to our audit. So at the next board meeting, we will be voting on the audit presentation. Reason for board consideration. Board policy requires that after the close of the fiscal year, an audit of all accounts of the district be made annually by an independent certified public accountant. Facts and analysis. Auditors from Gaybridge and Company recently committed the external financial audit of the district's 2024-2025 financial records. This evening, representatives from Gaybridge and Company are here to present a summary of this year's audit report. Policy reference 6830 audit. Strategic plan goal reference, facility/operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a physically responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action is that the Board of Education votes to accept the 2025 audit report from Gaybridge and Company. And again, that will be voted on at the next meeting. I also want to mention, if you all get a chance to look at the 31AA board resolution. 31AA is a grant that is offered by the state for safety and mental health. There has been some new parameters added to this grant that it was recommended by our attorneys that we not opt in to this grant. Some other districts in the state are doing a board resolution so that it is on record that the board also agrees with districts either opting in or opting out. It has been recommended by our attorneys that we opt out. So I would like for a board resolution to be made for this decision, and you all take a look at 31AA and its parameters so that we can make that resolution at the next board meeting. And also, I just want to add to the comments and the policy and discipline committee items that are on the agenda. I saw that in that we mentioned EduStaff, and I just want you all to be aware that if we take EduStaff employees to the board, they are considered dual employees. And there are some serious considerations to doing this. So I want you guys to keep that in mind when you are adding these new policies and changing the verbiage to include EduStaff employees, because we may be setting us up for some legal ramifications that go along with that. I just wanted to make that reference to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Carter. Is there any, I'm sorry, Brock Carter, sorry. Is there any questions or concerns?
Yes.
I mean, comments, sorry.
I guess, and it may be in here, I may just not see it, the legal opinion on this, is that in there, and is that link embedded in the documents as well?
On the 31AA grant?
Yes, the legal opinion that's telling us to turn down the fund.
No, but I can add it. I do have the email from Troon.
Okay, yeah, that would be very helpful for us to know
I will
that.
link it in.
And then, you know, any type of legal information regarding EduStaff, I think that would be good for us to have that. Also, I just want to just make a quick note. I think it's important for folks to know this. Trustee Doyle asked the finance team to work on a report that would allow the board to know what the purchase requests are and what the status of those requests are. And so we're not there yet in terms of having that report done, but I have been talking with Director Brock Carter about, you know, ways that we can possibly, do you want to speak to that a little bit about what might be possible?
Sure. There's nothing, the report that Ms. Doyle requested is not something that's readily available in our system at this time. But we do have the ability to request custom forms from our software provider. So that's what I will be moving forward with, to request a custom form to see if it's possible to get all of the elements that Ms. Doyle is requesting all on one form. Because at this point, I will have to go into each individual purchase order and download the information and add it to a spreadsheet, and it will be a very lengthy process. So I spoke with Ms. Gavin, and I am going to reach out to Skyward, our financial software company, and see if we can ask them to generate a custom report for our board.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And one more quick question in terms of our status, financial status. When you look at the fund balance, our fund balance, there is a like the state has a recommended percentage of dollars that we have in our fund balance based on our expenses and things of that nature. Can you share with the board and the community, what is the recommended baseline percentage? And then what is our percentage?
Sure. The state of Michigan recommends a 15 to 20% fund balance. And what that is your fund balance divided by your anticipated annual expenses. So the state recommends about 15 to 20%. We are at 75% right now. So we are well ahead of what is recommended by the state that we have in our fund balance.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Feels good to hear that. And that's it for me. I will turn it over to Dr. Griffin to see if there's anything you wanted to add or any board members with any questions.
Yes, thank you. I'm just really grateful and honored to have somebody so qualified on my team. She had been mentioning and keeping me updated on the process of the audit, but even she was pleasantly surprised around how well it went and the kind of grades and feedback we received. So this one's not on me. I just really want to celebrate Ms. Brock Carter and the hard work she continues to put in every day and telling everybody up to me no on everything all the time. No. And it's paying off because we're 75%. She says no to everybody all the time. So we know that. So no, I'm just kidding, but she's an amazing financier in our district. And this is simply a confirmation of what I've already known about her being a member of my team. So thank you.
Good deal. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping we can find a way to stay in good standing and also move some more dollars into the classroom. I think there'll be like a happy medium there, and I'll turn it over to you, VP Bowen.
I was this morning, I was on Facebook, and then one of my friends, she's a Pontiac school board member, and she was talking about the 31A. I said, well, it hasn't came across Benton Harbor area schools, and I got to call her and tell her, well, I had my board meeting and it came across. So yeah, so thank you. Our next discussion is old business. Is there any old business? Okay, is there any new business? There being any new business, we are now here for open public comment. Is there anyone that would like to do public comment? Therefore, being no one that would like to do public comment, we are now to superintendent. I love you all. We're to superintendent announcements.
I'll be brief. I do have a few announcements very quickly. I'm super excited to mention that we have closed in on the first marking period. And so I have charged Dr. Foster with ensuring that principals lead the data sessions with students that take place with the teachers and set goals Students and parents should be aware of how students landed, what their outcomes were on MSTEP, MAP, NWA MAP, as well as SAT. So they should not only be informed on those outcomes according to the standards, but they should also be given the opportunity to complete a template that Dr. Foster and I worked on, and I approved for the kids to set goals based upon their data. And then I've also, and they have to make sure parents have received all of the student assessment outcomes. So if a parent has a 11th grader, they should make sure that they have their SAT and MAP scores. Second is a DNF intervention plan. I noticed that this last marking period, there were way more Ds and Fs than I was comfortable with. And so I have charged the principals to ensure teachers institute intervention plans for those Ds and Fs. They have to, at the very minimum, create an intervention plan and communicate with the parent, so the parent is aware that the child is getting close to failure, and the intervention plan must be specific to the areas of concern for that student and help that student reach the passing level. If those measures are not in place, then they won't be able to give a student a failure for a course, because we want to make sure that we are partnering with parents around a student's academic success and informing them at the very least that something is gone awry in their educational process, so that they can help work with the teacher and their child to get their grades and scores up so that they don't fail. Lastly, school-wide data walls and classroom data walls. Now that the marking period is up, we have data from the state assessments, our interim benchmark assessment MAP, as well as grades. And so I want that information shared out. So I've also charged the principals with sharing out a place in spirit of transparency, a school-wide data wall of where kids fell. And then in the classrooms, there should be data walls too, that is ever changing. Just like we just took MAP, those scores should be up as well. And then they should be changed out in January when we get ready to take the next interim benchmark assessment, so kids can see their growth over time. That concludes my announcements.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh, no. The next is board member announcements and comments. We'll start off with Trustee Rockett.
Just wanted to say hats off to MLK Junior Elementary School for their STEM fair, their STEM parent night. It was very well done, very nice. Parents attended, the kids had a good time promoting science and math and engineering and technology. It was well done, very well. I did take a few pictures. I'll send them to Soledad in case she wants to put them on the website. But it was it's like Trustee Point Trenton and I both
Vice President.
attended. So it was Trustee Bowen and I. So it was a very good opportunity for children and parents.
Thank you. Trustee Doyle.
I would just like to thank everyone for coming out, everyone that watched, and just give a little explanation from my in and out. My daughter had her banquet today as well, so that was my reason for in and out. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening on purpose.
Thank you. Trustee Gavin.
No comment.
Secretary Triplett.
No comment.
Okay. So it's moving. About 5:30, I got a phone call that I had to chair this meeting. I said, well, I'm calling in sick because I didn't know what to expect. And I got to say, all I can say is thank God for grace and courage. But, I want to talk about the fierce urgency of now. Dr. King spoke of the fierce urgency of now, and that message couldn't be more relevant for us today. Our students can't wait. Our teachers can't wait. Our community can't wait. If we are going to advocate, then let's advocate for what matters. Test scores, certified teachers, equity, opportunity, and resources. Not just controversy, not just when it's drama, not just headlines that outsiders create. Because while some are focusing on broadcasting negativity, there's another story unfolding. A story of tiger pride that is rising again. We brought programs back. We've increased supports. And we finally restored driver's ed for our young people, giving them safety, independence, and access. Is there work to do? Absolutely. But progress is happening and it deserves to be acknowledged just as loudly as criticism is. This moment calls for unity, not division. Action, not excuses. Courage and not drama. Our children are not preparing for the future. They are living their future right now. So let's show up, let's speak up, and let's fight, not against each other, but for them. Because if there was ever a moment that demanded leadership, belief, and bold action, it is now. It is the fierce urgency of now. Thank you. Good night. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
The motion has been moved by Secretary Triplett, supported by Trustee Doyle. Any questions or comments? Therefore, being none, Secretary Triplett, can you call the vote?
Vice President Bowens, you did a great job tonight, and thank you for stepping in. Vice President Bowens?
Yes.
Secretary Triplett? Yes. Trustee Rocket Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Gavin?
Yes.
Trustee Doyle? The Vice President? Motion carried.
Meeting dismissed at 10 o'clock.